to submit your application. You're very focused at the moment. You're trying to, put in your best leg. So I just want to get a feel of how you're feeling right now. So I've dropped a link in the chat box. Just click the link. It will take you to the Mentimeter, and just you can put one word, you can put two words, you can put one word, you can put two words. I just want to know, how are you feeling now? How are you feeling right now about your taking application? Can you explain that? Can you describe that to me in one word? So I think we have results. Someone says never, and the person will present the results. And that person says, I'm really excited. Hey, a lot of words, a lot of words. I can see optimistic, enthusiastic, excited, hopeful, overstimulated. I love it. Anxious, committed, determined, apprehensive. Oh wow, that's a very strong word. Not sure. Um, we can see that there are a lot of words. Somebody says, I'm feeling outrageous, unsure, excited, skeptical, just beginning, feeling great, I'm hopeful, committed. We can see that the words here, right, not too clear yet. Skeptical, positive, insecure, unsure. The words are a lot, and that's what makes us individuals, and that's what makes us unique, right? We can all be feeling different ways about a particular thing or about a topic. It also applies to our writing, right? So we can see high expectations. Will show my best. Yeah, I really, really love these results. I love the results. Let's keep it coming. We want to actually, at the end of this session, we'll take another poll at the end of this session to know how you now feel after, we have given you have not been equipped with information. So let's say this is how you feel now. And at the end of the session, we would want to also know how you would feel at the end of the session. So let's ensure, if you're part of this session and you want to, get the best out of the session, ensure that you click on the Mentimeter link. Let me drop it again. So just join in and tell us how you are feeling about your achievement application at this point. Okay. Oh, someone is feeling imposter syndrome. It happens to everybody, and that person is really unprepared. There's still time, which is why we're here for you. There are people that are feeling optimistic, um, determined, unsure. Someone is feeling unsure, but he or she will still try. That's the spirit. That's how we move here. Someone is anticipating. Another person is really motivated. Oh, there's somebody here that is ready. That's really good. Someone is confident. Oh, that's great. Someone feels intimidated. You would not feel that way at the end of this session, by God's grace. And if you actually take every tip and information that we give you here today, someone is feeling uncertain. Someone is already winning. I love that word, winning. That's one word that we take very seriously at You Lead International. Oh, someone is feeling very positive. Okay, I think that's enough. Okay, just keep your answers coming in. At the end of the session, we would, go back to it. We will try to do another poll just to get insights around how you are now feeling after we've equipped you. So you may be wondering, you lead international, right? Because you may be wondering, oh, you saw this link on social media, maybe you're part of our Global Wins community, which is one of our major programs. And through this program, we are supporting hundreds and thousands of young people across Africa, across Asia, even down to, North America. We've had people who have joined the Global Wins community, and we've supported them to assess global opportunities, from scholarships to jobs to fellowships, right? And the Global Wins, or what we often refer to as the Global Wins community, is under the larger body which is called ULEAD International. And ULEAD International is an organization that is on a mission to empower, 10,000 young people. And we are looking at doing this through what we are currently doing here, and giving young people access to opportunities, equipping them with skills. So we have series of programs that empowers young people with future-ready skills, and then connecting them to also mentorship opportunities beyond just opportunities like scholarship, connecting them to mentorship opportunities, also connecting them to opportunities like we're looking to expand to like opportunities for funding for their social impact initiatives and stuff like that. So we are very, very, very youth centric, and which is why we are very happy to see that we have over 300 young persons or people who are really looking to further their education through the Chevening Scholarship, and which is why they have joined this session. And I want to tell you that you are in the right place. So, what is the session going to look like today? Let me share my screen again. I actually do have a slide. Okay. Okay. I have to put up my screen now. Okay. Okay. Can you confirm you can see my screen? I would like audio confirmation
It's up.
because I'm
The
on.
screen is up, and you are
Okay.
good to go.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Martins. So we all know that we are here for the Coding Application Series session. And this is just a brief overview of what the agenda looks like. We've already had the opening remark. We've had the icebreaker session, which is where you had to tell me how you're feeling about your achieving application. So after this, we're going to go into talking about the achieving scholarship proper, where we're going to explore the thematic priorities, we're going to explore the achieving essays, and we're going to explore everything. We're going to try to, be as snappy as possible so we can now move to the next session where you would, get the opportunity to ask your questions and, get answers, right? So what would making the most of this session look like for you? It would look like actually, staying away from distractions. It would look like listening attentively and writing down any questions, that comes up in the course of maybe the speakers, discussing a particular topic and sharing it with us eventually at the time when we open for question and answer, right? So to start, I will start with introducing the host. I'm sure you've already heard his voice, but he has a lot up his sleeves, and I would really want us to, get to know Mr. Martins. So Mr. Martins Yekepolo. He's the executive director of ULEAD International, and he was a Chimney Scholar in 2023, and he studied public health for development at the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. And ever since then, Mr. Martins is very passionate about, public health, and more than that, he's passionate about youth development and social impact, and which is one of the reasons why, he has been doing the work he has been doing through ULEAD International for the past 7 years. So we can see that Mr. Martins is a health systems consultant and a behavioral designer, and he leverages design to create and implement first-hand solutions across public health and social impact sectors globally. And his work, he's very passionate about human-centered design, and his work, pioneered the application of human-centered design in programs across Africa, right? So he is a Chevening alum, and during his time as a Chevening scholar, he won the Langley Memorial Prize for the best thesis in his set, which was really good, right? So he holds a master's degree in public health for development from the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. And as the founder and executive director of ULEAD International, Martins has spearheaded multiple projects and initiatives that have impacted over 5,000 young people across 13 plus countries. And all these initiatives were focused on equipping them with skills for employability, opportunities, and mentorship. And Martins is very passionate about bridging the gap between education, employment, and opportunities by equipping young leaders with the tools to create sustainable change. He firmly believes that life is by design, and that means that anyone can build the life they desire, deliberate and intentional steps, right? So let's give it up for Mr. Martins as he
I don't know if Ichi is frozen. Hi, Ichi.
Hi,
Can
Mr. Martin.
okay, fantastic. You can hear me now. All right. You can. Well, thank you so much. We didn't plan to host you guys here. We planned to host you guys on Google Meet, and you guys surpassed Google Meet limits, which is quite interesting to see. My name is Martins, like you already mentioned, but this session is not about me. This session is about you. It's about the Chevening Scholarship, and it's also about um, one of my madams at the top. That's Madam Layo, which I'll be introducing now. So I think I take great pride in the work that we do here, right? This year alone, we had 23 scholars who won the scholarship, not just Chevening Scholarship, Commonwealth Scholarship globally, right? That we've been supporting. Last year, we had 20 scholars. That's Chevening alone. It's crazy. And that's globally, right? So we are very certain that with all of these changes, we can also reach out to you and show you what we think, but not just what we think, but what actually is from the perspective of the FCDO themselves. And there is no other person that can help us do that than our guest today. So I'm going to be introducing our guest. Can you put up the bio for Madam so that I can quickly do that, Ifechi? Um, while while that comes up, Madam Layo has been an instrumental part of my journey as a Chevening scholar. I think I remember the very first time I met her. I went for my interview in Abuja. I just got in there and I was waiting and she was like, "Oh, are you here for the interview?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm here for the interview." She's like, "Okay, don't worry, just sit and relax. Just relax, you'll be fine." And I'm like, "Okay, okay." So I chilled and I relaxed, and of course I was fine. Um, and then a couple of months later, I'm a Chevening scholar. And ever since that time, I've always reached out to her, sent her emails, asked her questions about things that I wasn't clear about. So Madam Layo is a very warm person and she's a big madam. So Madam Layo is a graduate of architecture from the Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. She has since worked in Abuja within a wide range of industries. We call her Mama, right? My friend is here. I think Joseph is on this call. Joseph was my our set rep, and when we were scholars at the time, Seb Joseph, I think it's on this call somewhere. Yeah, and we all call her Mama. Literally, she began her career in design and construction. She worked as an architect across various firms, and then she joined Bridge High Commission in 2006. I mean, there are some folks who were not born in 2006. They're like this generation of people. Anyway, that's just saying. So at the British High Commission, she has worked with the UKVI, the Visa and Immigration Services, for 13 years. And during that time, she managed different teams for over 7 years. They will drop the link to this session in the chat. Please, if you have anyone who should be on this call, send this link to them and let them join, okay? It's important. It's important. In July 2019, right, she joined the Chevening team and she has been managing a large portfolio of projects and programs targeted around development, etc. She's a mentor. She's not just a mentor, she's a mentor of mentors. She mentored the mentor that mentored their mentor. Do you understand? She mentored the mentor who mentored their mentor. So you get the point. So she is a grand mentor. So please, with a clapping ovation, reacting ovations, emoji ovations, all the ovations, please put your hands together, your legs together, your face together, your lips together, your hearts together, and welcome Madam Oluwa Fumilayo Ladepo, the Chevening Programme Officer for Nigeria. Can you please put your hands together for her? Thank you. Amalaya, are you here? Can you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you. I thought I was abandoned.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Martins. Thank you, everyone. Oh my gosh, I'm feeling very overwhelmed right now. Talk about emotions in the room. My goodness. Anyway, it's really a pleasure to be here. Honestly, I'm excited to be sharing this great opportunity with you. It's also great to see so many attendees from different countries across Africa. And so, I mean, it just shows how much work our alumni are also doing to try to look for the strongest, the brightest candidates for our Chevening Award. Also happy to see that some people feel excited, some people already feel enthusiastic. So that's good. I know also that people are anxious because there seem to be so many changes on the website, but to be honest, the changes are for the better because these changes on the website help to direct you and steer you in the right direction. That's the way I want you all to look at it. So hopefully by the end of this session, I might be able to change some of those emotions for the better. I'd like to thank you, Martins, for inviting me to speak about the application cycle this year, especially as there have been a few changes. I'll also be sharing a few general tips on how you can write your essays based on the specific priorities listed on the website. And even though you're feeling daunted, even if you are feeling scared, I think if you are eligible to apply based on the requirements on the website, then I think you should give it a shot and submit your application. After all, if you don't put your eggs in the basket, I mean, how would you know if you're going to be able to move on to the next stage? You just have to try as long as you are eligible to apply. On the questions that some of you asked, I know that Martin sent me some questions, and hopefully towards the end of this session, we would be looking at all of those questions before we begin to take general questions. So for the benefit of those who have not started doing their research at all, those who do not know much about Chevening, we'll just go through a few slides to talk about the overview of what Chevening is, hopefully in a few minutes. Please note, this is a good takeaway, that you should visit the website after this session. Don't take everything you've read or listened to here and think that's all it is. You need to go onto the website, check out the resource hub, especially on the application process. There's also Chevening Charlie. It's a little agent that answers questions and that will provide you with useful links to any of the questions that you have. And so the ability that you have to do your own research and to determine what you want to do is what makes you an outstanding candidate. Am I right or wrong, Martins? You have to do your research in order, to show us that you are outstanding. And lastly, there are also the frequently asked questions. So please read them as well. Okay, so on to the next slide, please. Thank you very much, Ifechi, for controlling the slides. So Martins, remember that we had a PowerPoint presentation because I'm not sure this can show, okay, can it show everything? Because it just seems like it's showing a part of it and not all of it. Okay, yes, it is, all right, fine. So this is the FCDO's flagship scholarship alongside Commonwealth scholarships, but Chevening is the prestigious scholarship, as you all know, and it's fully funded. It's for a 1-year master's degree, so we cannot have any courses that are less than 1 year or anything more than 1 year. So it's for 1-year master's at any UK university of your choice, as long as it's eligible on the website. And we're looking for outstanding candidates, people who have potential to become future leaders. This is because there's a relationship between the UK government and Nigeria, and not just Nigeria, and other countries where Chevening is eligible. And these partnerships help us to solve all kinds of problems, all kinds of challenges. So that is why it is important, that we also look at people who are future leaders that can actually make the change that we want to see. So next slide, please. Fechi, can we go to the next slide, please? Thank you very much.
Mama,
yes.
It's right here. Can you see it?
Okay, fine. So what is it that you need to be eligible to apply for the scholarship? So this is one of the major changes, having at least 2 years work experience after undergraduate after your undergraduate degree. So this is one of the specific changes we have this year, which means that you should have completed your undergraduate degree, started work before you begin to count your work experience. Then you should be able to articulate good examples of the way you've influenced, the way you've led, the way you've maintained relationships, and then you should be able to be a problem solver, someone who has solved problems, and we're able to see through your essays how those problems were solved. Now, if you do not have any of the work experience that we're talking about, then you have to build that work experience and wait until you have it. Otherwise, you would be taking out of the application process, immediately. So, but it's good that you're learning now. Even if you don't have that work experience, at least you can plan to apply when you have that experience. Next slide, please. Okay, so Nigeria is one of the eligible countries, and there are 160 of them. You should hold an undergraduate degree. Yes, work experience after graduation, and then have at least 2 years of work experience and demonstrate outstanding future leadership potential. So Ifechi, you're going to post the website in the chat bar, right? You said you're going to be pasting them in there. So next slide, please. I'm trying to be as quick as possible so that we can get to the juicy part. Yes, NYSC experience counts. So what does Chevening cover? Fully covered tuition fees, living allowance at a set rate for one individual, economy ticket, return ticket to the UK, and then any additional grants to cover essential expenditure. So there's a little note at the bottom about the MBA. If anyone is going to study an MBA program, then there's a fee cap of £22,000. Next slide, please. So it's not just a scholarship. I'm sure if you've heard from Martins or Joseph, who is online here, it's more of an adventure as well as, a scholarship. So you have opportunities to attend exclusive networking events. You have access to a global network of over 60,000 people. Chevening has been in existence for 40 plus years now. So you can imagine what that network is and how useful it is. And then you have access to one of our programs, which we call the Chevening Alumni Program Fund, where our alumni can bid for funds and they can deliver projects across Nigeria. This also exists in other countries, whichever countries you come from. So it's not just in Nigeria, it's all across the 160 eligible countries for Chevening. Next slide, please. Okay, I do this all the time. I just pick 3 main senior alumni. So it's not that I don't want to put your face on here, Martins or Joseph, but then we have almost 1,550 alumni in Nigeria. So putting all the faces up here will not will not be possible, and we will probably bore you with all of them. But everyone is doing their own bits and they're making impact in different ways. So thanks to you, Martin, and any other Chevening alumni who have joined for all of the work that you do. Next slide, please. Okay, on the application timeline, I would recommend that you go to the website to take a look. It tells you about the whole cycle. And right now, we're obviously in the application cycle where the portal remains open up until, I think it's October the 7th. So please visit the website for more information about our timelines. Next slide, please. Okay, so if you are eligible, then please submit your application so that you can benefit from 160 UK universities that are eligible, and you can find those on the website. Scholar satisfaction rate of 99%. Martins has said it already. and then exclusive events each year. And I mentioned that Chevening has been around for 40 years. So this is one life-changing experience, and it's worth your while. Next slide, please. Okay, now this is where we get to the juicy bit. And as I said, please try not to feel daunted. Just try to look at, the way the questions have been put on the website this year. As I said, these questions are very useful in the sense that it helps you to think. It helps you to try and understand where you're coming from and where you're going. So for example, the first question says, do you have strong examples of your leadership and influencing skills? Now, we're looking for people who have been able to drive change in their communities or in their organizations, people who have been able to improve outcomes for other people. So that's where the influencing comes in. Then there's a specific challenge that you were able to solve, and you're able to highlight that in your essay. So here, you are looking at all of the different experiences you've had. You're looking for the strongest of those that you want to use as your example, or maybe the strongest one or the strongest two, especially now that we have 300 words. So you have to be creative in how you craft your essays, but we'll keep going and we'll see how that goes. Solving, implementing a project or an idea that has had a tangible impact. And then the next question is asking, do you have good examples? So this is where you are reflecting, you are listening, you are reflecting, and you're looking back at your different experiences and asking yourself, which one should I use? And even if you're not sure which one to use, you can put together a few of them, and then you reach out to your mentor, reach out to alumni, and ask them, which of these examples do you think really suits the question? So as you know, effective leaders are good at building relationships, not just building those relationships, they leverage on those relationships and they maintain those relationships. So if you are awarded with a scholarship, you will also have plenty of opportunities to connect with other leaders in your field. We're also looking for examples of how you built strong relationships, how you've been able to collaborate with them, and how you've been able to achieve measurable outcomes. We're also looking to see how you brought people together, how your efforts contributed to meaningful change, positive impact, whether it's in your organization, whether it's in your community, or beyond. And then on the third one, it says, how does your career plan address both local and global challenges in alignment with the UK priority areas? Now, this is where you have to really, really consider. First and foremost, by the time you're writing your leadership essay, your networking essay, your study in the UK essay, which we're going to be talking about, you're also going to want to align this with what you intend to do with all of the knowledge and skills you gain in the UK when you come back. So what are you going to be planning to do, and how are you going to be able to work with the UK government when you come back? So the thing about linking some of these essays with the priority areas of the UK government is that UK government is already doing some work in Nigeria, just as it's doing some work in Ghana, and just like it's doing some work in other countries out of the 160 countries. So what is it about our country? What are the problems that we have in Nigeria that we can solve, that you think that the UK government will want to work with you to solve? So it's like a collaboration, it's like a partnership. So that's what you should be thinking about here. So you would want to demonstrate how the course that you're going to go on, because yes, this course is going to be helping you fill the knowledge and skills gap, right? You have challenges in certain areas and you've done so much already, but you know that there are some gaps. And so you want to go and study a particular course for this reason. And this is because you have a final goal. You're trying to make a change in a particular area. So lastly, how will your chosen courses support your ambitions to drive change? Now, I'll be honest with you guys here. Nobody can tell you what course to study. I've seen questions where people are saying, what course should I choose? If by this time you do not know what course you want to choose, then I'm so sorry to say you might have to change your plans and apply next year. because by this time, especially now that the window is only for 2 months. So last year we had 3 months. The application portal was open for 3 months, but this time it's only open for 2 months. So by this time, you should be doing your research. And mind you, even if you know what course you want to study, you do not have to have the admission now. All we want to know is that you have done your research and this is what you intend to do. You can follow up on the admission process later, okay? So find out what courses you want to study, what universities you want to go to, and then submit those at this point. And the reason why we want you to do your research, because it will help you to answer the question on studying in the UK. So make sure that if you want your applications to stand out, you show that you researched the 3 courses and explain each of these courses and how they connect to your background. You're coming from somewhere, right? And then you're going somewhere. So those are your career aspirations and the impact you hope to make. And then you describe the specific modules or areas of study that will equip you with the skills and knowledge needed to achieve your goals. And finally, demonstrate a genuine willingness to collaborate with the UK. I'm saying genuine here. Don't just go and form something. If you are really doing something and you're actually making impact somewhere, you would be passionate to make changes. And if you are passionate and you have genuine willingness to do this, then you would want to collaborate with the UK in tackling the shared global and local challenges. So it's not just the shared global problems, but then the challenges that you see around you. And this would be, examples could be advancing growth and prosperity, strengthening security, building climate resilience, or supporting sustainable development. So I think we can go on to the next slide now. Okay, so these are some generic application tips. First and foremost, with all of the emotions I saw in the room, don't downplay yourself. This is not the time for you to be modest when you're writing your essays. You need to highlight those strengths of yours because this is a competition side by side with someone else who is ready. In fact, you saw some people were like, they're excited. They're waiting to give it to us. So that is how you should be. You have to be confident in yourself. Once you are not lying, you are not exaggerating, then you're telling us your own story. It's very important that you're as original as possible. Then you have to ensure that you read and understand the questions. So the questions this year have changed. They're not the same as they were in the past. If we have time, we'll look at those. But if not, I'm certain Martins will send it to you at some point. But I went onto the application website and I did went through some of the questions. So I was able to extract the questions. And they are more clear, basically, on what they're asking you. And I think they're using the Carl approach, which we will get to. So please make sure that once you are applying, you've looked at the FAQs on the Chevening website. You have to be specific, clear, and concise when you are writing your essays so that you can get as much in, since you only have 300 words. Try not to be vague about your goals. They need to be clear, and we need to know the specific impact that you intend to make and how you intend to do it. Then don't just tell us about your skills. We don't want to know. Tell us how you were able to use your skills to achieve great things. So you have to expand on those skills, explain a little bit further about, and that is why at this point, you have to be very creative because, as I said, there are 300 words now and not 500. Then what is it that makes you unique? What is special about you? You have to use your real life examples. Don't go and copy and paste online resources. Chevening has a plagiarism software, and I mean that. And if you do, you become automatically ineligible. Then you have to write in English. It's very important that you write in English, and you can use either the STAR approach model or the Carl approach to write your essays and ensure that your answers are smart. Next slide, please. Okay, we talked about getting someone else to proofread your application before submitting. Is really important that you do that, because sometimes we make errors. And by the way, some people, because they work offline a lot, what they do is they would have written their essays and then they go and copy leadership essay in the cell for leadership, and then they go and copy the leadership essay in the cell for networking. So it's like, it's an error. It's not something that you mean to do, but sometimes you can make those kind of mistakes, so please be very careful about when you are pasting any work from your that you have worked on offline into the portal. Other helpful tips, it says research the priority areas in Nigeria. So not just in Nigeria, in whichever country you're in, you need to research those priority areas. And one way of doing that is looking for UK in Nigeria on social media, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and on X, because quite a lot of the different projects that we're involved in gets posted on there. So it gives you an idea. And then if you go to the Gov website as well, you can see some of our projects. Ifechi has a link that she can paste on there, especially on the development side. Excuse me. So in general, your examples should be based on your experience, your expertise, your evidence, and then there should be data somehow linked with your examples, because it is only through data that we can confirm what it is that you're saying. I'll tell you something. Sometimes when people are reading essays, they go on Google search and they check to see whether this person that said they have a network of 1,000 people. Why lie if you do not have 1,000 people in your network? Why don't you just say, I have 200 if you have 200? So please be original, be authentic. And if you are determined to achieve your goal, you will be able to get through to the next stage, which is the interview stage. So you notice also this time we are not uploading documents on the portal. There's no need for it. You will only upload your documents when you are called for interview. Then structure your essays. Either you use SMART essays, which are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound, or you use CARL, which expresses the context from where you're coming from, the actions that you took, the result, and the learning. We will look at this further here. And then if you have any positive outcomes, it's very good to highlight these. Even if you don't have those, but you were able to learn some lessons from them, then you can highlight these as well. So on to the next slide, please. Okay, I did say that we were going to talk about the CARL framework. So with the CARL framework, you can see that the questions, I don't know if I can just look at one of the questions so you can see how it breaks down. I'll just explain to you how it explains each of the questions. So let me look for just the first one on leadership. So last year, the question was explain yourself and your leadership and influencing qualities using clear examples. But this year, it starts with a question. It says, describe a time when you demonstrated leadership in your answer. And in your answer, please address the following. First of all, it says, what was the context or challenge you faced? Now, this is the CARL example that we're showing you. This is the framework that they're showing you here. So if you are able to understand the CARL framework, you would understand why the questions look the way they do now. It now asks, what specific actions did you take as a leader? What was the outcome and what did you learn? And how has this experience shaped your approach to leadership? So this is the format for the essay questions this year. So the first part talks about the context, where you would describe the background of the situation or the experience. Where did this happen? When did this happen? Who was involved? What was the situation? And what you hoped to achieve or what you achieved. Now, this sets the stage for your reflection and helps the reader understand the circumstances. Next is your action. This is explaining what you did in response to the situation. So please don't just list those actions. Tell us why you chose those actions. Tell us what alternatives you considered. Tell us how external factors influenced your decisions. Were there any challenges? How did you overcome those challenges? How did you solve them? And then this part also shows your decision-making process. This shows your decision-making process. So it helps you and helps us to see how step by step you're able to make decisions. And then on the results, you're discussing the outcomes of your actions. I'm sure as we're going through this, you can see it's very similar to the STAR approach. So here you are looking at whether you were able to achieve your goals, the impact on others or the situation, what went well and what didn't go well, and what could have been done differently. And this would help you to evaluate your effectiveness in that particular experience. And lastly, on learning, you're going to be concluding what you learned from the experience. So this is the most critical part of the reflection. So what insights did you gain? How will this influence your future behavior or decisions? What changes will you make going forward? So I think we can go on to the next slide. Okay. So this is where we talk about the Chevening priority areas as listed on the website. Those are the priority areas promoting growth and prosperity, which could be in the growth, trade, and investment format, building resilience in a climate vulnerable world for people who are solving problems in climate, nature, and biodiversity. But this is not exclusive. These are just examples. Strengthening security and stability in a volatile world, where you're looking at defense of the country, you're looking at the security of the country, you're looking at conflict resolution. And lastly, supporting development for more inclusive, effective societies. So you can see that these are the major changes, and this is to help us better align with our Chevening mission and evolve global priorities. So for us specifically in Nigeria, in the past, when we talk about Chevening, when we promote Chevening, we always will talk about priority areas. We talk about UK's priority areas. We talk about global challenges and how people can link those with their essays. So to be honest, this is nothing new. What you're seeing on the website is just that they're highlighting the priorities this time. In the past, it would be only if maybe you joined a webinar or a face-to-face session where people have listed the UK priority areas. And then there is a link to our to FCDO website that would tell you what our priorities are each year. And it's not just for Nigeria, it's for the whole world. So once you go to that Gov link, it tells you what priorities your country is solving at that point. So apart from the updated essay questions and the word limit, the major reason why we are focusing on these priority areas this time is because we are looking for people who show the greatest potential, people who are able to lead positive change in their communities, in their countries, and all across the world. So you know that there are a lot of unprecedented global challenges across the world. Things are happening everywhere. In Nigeria, we're experiencing floods, we're experiencing conflict in certain areas. In other countries, I don't know what your problems are, I don't know what your challenges are, but everyone is experiencing. So we are trying to see how you can link some of your outcomes and what you intend to do to some of these real life challenges. The good thing is that our alumni are already making a measurable impact in areas such as climate action, economic growth, inclusive governance. A lot of people are doing different things. So to remain effective, we must continue to evolve. So these updates to your work experience requirements and the application questions are designed to help you to put out the best potential of yourselves, to lead with impact, so that we can see that through your essays. So I think that's enough for this page. Can we just go on to the next slide where we can delve deeper into the different priorities? Next slide, please. Okay, so I just want you to think about it, because as I said, I don't think it's as daunting as you all think it is. Just look at these priorities and think about the first one. What does growth of a nation mean to you? So this is why you have to reflect and try and look at how you think your country should look if it is termed a growing country or a country that has grown. What are the examples that you can cite for the UK government? What are they doing to show that their country is growing? And what can you see Nigeria already doing? And how can you support Nigeria to solve those problems? So how can you link your essays to them with the aim of creating change in your specific sector? So examples of some of the UK, what you can see that is growth in the UK government is rising GDP. Sometimes, I mean, they're able to highlight that through, you can even, by the time you spend your time watching BBC or even reading newspapers, you can see what the UK government is doing. So how does that work in your own country? How can you be a part of increasing the GDP in your own country? That's just one aspect of growth. Then strong services sector, that's another aspect where you can think about the legal part of infrastructure of your country, IT and health. How are you able to impact on the growth of the health sector, basically, or the IT sector, or on your business investments in Nigeria? How can that be improved upon? Because that is part of the priorities of the UK government. You can see their transport system in comparison to ours in Nigeria. Wouldn't you prefer it if our transportation was as good as it is in the UK? I'm not saying they don't have challenges, but they are growing. Their transportation system is definitely better than ours. So we are aspiring to get there one day. Improved employment. How many jobs can we create in Nigeria for our own people? How many jobs? Think about it. This is all a part of growing. This is all a part of your country growing. And even on trade, what kind of exports, what kind of imports can we do between Nigeria and the UK? What opportunities are there so that we can exchange our goods between countries? Those are the kind of things you should be looking at. Next slide, please. Can we go to the next slide, please, Ifechi?
The next slide is up, ma'am. The next slide
It is?
Yeah,
okay, now it's up. I didn't see it before. Okay. So now we're thinking about climate resilience. How can you build climate resilience in your country? I talked about floods earlier on. There's so many things happening that were not happening before. So you need to look at the problems that you have in your country and see how you can solve them and see how you can align them with what the UK government is doing in their own country. So that collaborating between Nigeria and between the UK becomes very easy and smooth. So they're looking at people who have potential to solve problems so that they can work with you going forward. So they have their own National Resilience Action Plan, where they have introduced a strategic framework to strengthen the national preparedness for climate-related risks. Do we have something of that sort in Nigeria? Have you researched to find out if, now that would mean you are already, working towards changing some of these challenges in Nigeria in the climate space. Then there's flood defenses. How good are we at solving the floods that keep happening in Nigeria? Then the buildings that we have in Nigeria, how strong are they to withstand some of the external vices that we have? So, for example, you have heat waves in the UK sometimes in the summer period. So, what do they do about that? So, they have climate resilient built housing. They're able to resolve issues about floods and storms because they have good drainage. They also have a lot of green spaces, planting trees, having parks and ponds to buffer climate impacts. And finally, what kind of reforms do you have, or how can you contribute to working with people in different parts of the different industries to improve on the reforms that they have set for Nigeria? And then also public awareness is also very important. So can we go to the next slide? Okay, now we go to security and stability. So what is the UK government doing to resolve conflict globally? And how can you help to resolve the conflict in your country or locality? Now we know that, we have different parts of our country, and I'm sure not just Nigeria, but in other parts where there is conflict in one way or the other. So some of the examples that the UK have on this page is how they have been able to increase their spending on defense. So they're investing in advanced technologies, cyber capabilities, and modernizing the armed forces so that they can respond to threats. You know that the UK government is supporting Ukraine right now, and they're trying to counter Russian aggression. Well, I mean, the journey is still ongoing. We can see, what's been happening with Trump and Russia, So these things are global issues. So what do you know about global issues? How involved are you? How much information do you have? What about the problems in your own country? How are you solving those? How can you solve those in your own little space? How have you been able to? So this is what we are talking about when we're saying linking some of these to the priority areas. There are so many, look at the next one is enhancing cybersecurity. There are some people who are working on cybersecurity, keeping us safe. How can we build cyber resilience? Sorry, these messages are coming up on the slide, so I have to keep closing them. That's why I pause sometimes. The UK government is also collaborating internationally to counter cyber threats from hostile states and criminal networks. And lastly, on tackling terrorism and extremism. This is what the UK government is doing, investing in counterterrorism. So what are we doing also in our country? What are other countries doing? So it's just for you to reflect and look at the situation and try and understand how you can link some of the examples that you are going to be putting on your essays with some of the changes that you can see in the UK government and the changes that you hope to see in your country. Next slide, please. Okay, lastly, we're talking about development. Most of you understand what international development looks like, what that looks like in your country. So what we're looking at, again, is economic growth, social welfare, and sustainable development. So people are trying to see how they can address poverty, inequality, and so many other developmental challenges. And to be able to do this, you are thinking about how you're growing your economy, because if you're able to grow your economy, then there will be no poverty, right? Or even inequality. So how you look at all of these things is what is important while you're preparing your essays. So some of the examples of what the UK government has been doing in their country is they have launched the Civil Society Covenant to strengthen partnerships with community groups, with faith networks, and with social enterprises. And you know that even in Nigeria, we have civil society organizations that are pushing to create change in their own little space. So if you want to align one of your essays with what is happening in the UK and what is also happening in Nigeria, then you can do that, you know. So the change that you want to see is how you're able to make impact in Nigeria through some of these examples that you're seeing. Inclusive governance is another thing. Just recently, we had the special seats bill discussion, you know, that we're looking at how we can have increased seats for women in the National Assembly. So different changes are happening across Nigeria, and I'm certain in other countries as well. And then even on education, for equity and inclusion. And then in the UK government right now, they have this program called VSO, and it's a civil society program which empowers marginalized groups, especially women, youth, and people with disabilities to lead their own development. There are so many people who have examples of how they have been working, you know, in rural areas, working with women, working with young people, working with people with disabilities. All of these are examples that you can link your essays to. So please do not have any fear. Have no fear. Do not think that, oh my gosh, the website has changed. Yes, it has changed, but it's just that it's made things a little bit more clear so that you can align your thinking that way. Because with the old questions, it was not that easy, except maybe you are lucky and you have a mentor who's been through the process before, you know. But some people are lucky, they try on their the first trial and they're still able to write winning essays and make it. So, I mean, it all depends on the individual, right? Some of us need more guidance than others. That is fine. So, but find out where you think you need help. So please, if it is going to paste that link, that's also another place where you can find out where our priority areas are. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, so this is a test, and let's see who is going to be bold enough to answer some of these questions. They're very straightforward. I don't know how much time we have, but let's take a short period of time and just look at some other priority areas that are achieving priority areas. So do not just look at those 4 that have been listed. Even on the website, it says priority areas such as, and it lists those 4. But that doesn't mean that we don't have other priorities. So even if you're in the arts and culture, even if you're in science and technology, open societies, governance, human rights, we even talked about that, education, skills, health, gender, which of those priority areas that we listed in the previous pages, can you link some of these to? So can I have 2 volunteers that are bold enough to speak here? Don't be shy. Martin, are you able to pick out 2 people that can speak and who can try and link some of these priority areas, other Chevening priority areas, to the 4 core ones?
I see 2 hands raised. I see Nkiru, I think Nkiruka Okbara and then Ruth Okim. So I'll go with Nkiruka Okbara first. Hi, Nkiru, you wanna speak? Nkiru, you can, okay, let me allow you unmute your mic. I realized that we didn't allow folks to be able to.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I'll just go straight to the point. So for education, skills, health, gender, and equality, and I also want to add human rights to the development area, you know, as one of the to be part of the development areas. Then I want to take the culture and the culture and open society to the climate area. And then the third one is so the
you
third
don't have
one
to do all of them. You can just choose 1 or 2 and just talk about that one. Don't worry.
Okay.
Just choose the one that you feel comfortable talking about. Just pick one of them. So pick education, for example, if you want. Pick gender and just say, okay, I believe that this links to, so.
Okay. So I'll be picking gender and equality, and it links to development. And I want to speak to this because I have worked in the area where we address issues that has to do with gender and equality, most especially when it comes to addressing the issue of domestic and sexual and gender-based violence. So
yes.
So it links directly to the development priority area that we're actually talking about.
Fantastic. So was that difficult? Be honest.
It wasn't.
It wasn't. That's good. So if we all thought she answered the question correctly, can we just give her a thumbs up, give her a clap for her or something? Let's see that. You see, how difficult was that? It wasn't difficult, was it? You see? Okay, who wants to go next? Thank you so very much for taking part.
The other name was Ruth Okim. I think we take just Ruth. Hi, Ruth. Do you want to speak?
All right. Thank you very much. So, as a
Hi, Ruth.
Hello, good evening, Ma. Thank you for this amazing session. So, as a climate activist, I would link climate change to gender and equality. Now, because we can link how climate change disproportionately affects gender and how for us to provide equality, we can maybe provide, for example, in rural areas, when it comes to migration, flooding, the female gender suffers more because they are not always able to adapt as easily as the male, because maybe they have children, they have to do most of the chores at home, so they need more water, and in droughts, they are more affected.
Fantastic. You can see this is an exercise that is so easy. All you just need to do is to just reflect and think about it. So thank you so very much for your response. Who agrees with me that she did well and she has linked?
Yeah, I think she did well.
She did well. You can see. I mean, so you can link all of these priorities. Do we want to take one more and then we go on to the next part of the exercise? Thank you so very much for taking part. This is so useful to know that you understand, what we're saying.
Okay, we have Afiz. I think there's Afiz Ibrahim.
Hi, Afiz. Welcome on board.
Good evening, Madam Layo.
Glad
to be here.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you for joining.
Yes, I would like to link science, technology, and innovation to also climate resilience. A lot of work is going on with regards to CNG, also regards to so science is involved in actually converting vehicles from carbon-based, which is petroleum and other diesel, to using natural gas to power our vehicles, and also in application to electric vehicles. So science, technology, and innovation comes in very handy to tackle climate issues in that regard, ma. Thank you very much.
So what do we think? Let's see. Hands up, clap. Let us clap for you. Thank you very much, Afiz. So this is the exercise. Sit down and think about it. Look at the core 4 priority areas we've listed. Look at economic growth. Think about where you can link your own challenges to how you can write your essays to link them to those priority areas. That is all we're asking for. So please don't feel daunted. How many of us feel better now? For those of you who were feeling anxious, for those of you who did not have any there. By the way, have we heard from anyone from all of those other countries? Has anyone volunteered to speak from Tanzania, from Sudan? I saw some countries.
Yeah, let me see the hands that are raised if there are none.
If there's anyone from outside of Nigeria, sorry, Nigeria people, you are here with us now. You understand? You understand?
Not from Nigeria, please raise your hand.
Let's just give a chance to people who.
Yeah. The only people whose hands should be raised now is those who are not Nigerians and who are not from Nigeria, right? And they want to speak to the question that Mama Layo just asked. Okay, so there is Mana Al-Wahab, Alexandra Munoz. So I'll pick Alexandra Munoz first. Alexandra Munoz. If I murdered your name, I apologize. You can speak.
Have you unmuted him?
I don't think he's unmuted.
Oh.
Mana Alexandra Munoz.
Yes, he's unmuted now. Hello.
You can speak.
Hello,
Yeah.
you can hear
Hi,
me now?
Manar.
Yeah.
Hi. I'm sorry, I heard my name.
Yes, you raised your hand because you're not from Nigeria, and yeah.
So I don't know if I should speak or the other person.
No, please go ahead. Go ahead and tell us what you think about the priority areas and how you can link some of these priorities listed here on this page to the 4 core priority areas that we have spoken about in the previous slides.
I am from Mexico and I work in the border with US. We have very big flow of migration lately, and I think embracing the governance and defense of human rights of the migrant community will provide an improvement in the development of Mexico if you incorporate the migrant community to the working force in a regular way.
Okay, so you're talking about employment as well, but which of the core priorities are you linking your experience to?
Human rights and governance.
Okay, in governance. Okay, so how did she do? Our audience, what do you all think?
I think that's very contextual, to be honest, and it's quite relatable based on the priorities for that country, which is the thing that you've been emphasizing so far over the call.
Yes.
All right.
So now we can see that it's not so difficult as long as you reflect, look at the challenges in your own country, and then look at how you can link them to those 4 priorities. So that is basically what we're trying to do here, is to get you to understand that. Hi.
Mana, you can speak. Yeah.
I'm Manar from Sudan.
Oh, hi. Hi. How are you? Another
Hi.
Manar from Sudan. Manar, right?
Yes.
Okay, please go
Yes.
ahead and speak.
Okay, I will link the science, technology, and innovations with the growth.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Okay, code automation will increase efficiency, and we will have a data improve decisions, and we will also improve the data analytic tools, and also we have a connectivity expands reach. And through the innovation, we can create opportunities.
Exactly, exactly. Round of applause, round of applause. Everyone is getting their assignments. So how much time do we have, Martins? How many more can we take? Well done to those of you who have spoken. It's really great to see that you're understanding what this is all about.
Yeah, I think we'll just take maybe one more. Let's take Shaf Elahi. He commented in the chat. Shaf Elahi, if you want to speak, this is your moment. Shaf, are you there? Okay.
He's trying to unmute, he says.
Okay. Let me see.
Hello? Hi.
Hello, we can hear you.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, yes, we can.
Yes, this is Shahd Abbas Al-Qadir from Sudan. And thank you very much for this session. It will be very helpful for us to encourage us to apply for the Chevening. And I was thinking about applying for something related to climate resilience or something related to environmental policy and related to what's already happening in Sudan, because I was working as a emergency response in Night Nile and Blue Nile. That's it's a very heavy flooded area. So I was thinking that to link this maybe with security and also development.
Fantastic, fantastic. So that would be on security and development. And then there's climate resilience, right? So you have so many priorities to link it with.
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, ma'am.
So well done, well done. A round of applause for her as well. Well done to you.
Hi, ma'am. Can I speak?
Shaf,
yes. Yes. Hi, Shaf.
Shaf Ilai here from Pakistan, and currently have been serving here in Oman as an electrical engineer. And well, you know, I think you all have heard the news that the Pakistan is facing a heavy flood. So, so now, since as an electrical engineer, I will link the scientific technology and innovation with the flood uh, resilience. So, since in Pakistan we have a heavy political, too much political instability since the independence, and we have a plan. The different governments, they plan to build a dam to reduce this flood in every year, which happened, and which mostly it caused uh, a bunch of loss for the
Yes, yes.
lowest areas in the country. And so I will since as a science and technologies learner, I can explain, and I can provide guidance to the people that the dam sorry, the dam production is the key need for the current problems we are facing now. So I think I can relate like this.
Okay. Okay, that's very good. So many of us have those issues. We have floods in our countries. And for us in Nigeria, I remember we had a dam that broke, right, in Maiduguri, and we saw the impact of that in our own country. So it is so important for us to see these challenges, these issues, and see how we can support to improve these challenges we face in our own country. So well done, and a round of applause to you. And I think that's the last question, right?
Last one will be able to take
yeah.
In terms of connecting this. You want us to also go to the next slide. I think we can run the last part for the next 10 minutes.
Okay, can we go there?
Okay, cool.
Yes. Okay. So are you going to go through the questions that were sent initially before we look at the generic questions in the chat box? I don't know. Just checking.
I think that's fine. So since I think you can just go straight to answering them so we can save time.
Okay. All right. So I think we received 10 questions, and I'll just go through them as quickly as possible. Some of you might have already answers to these questions, but if you don't, then this will be useful for you. So the first question is, who is eligible to apply for Chevening, and are there any common misconceptions you see among applicants? Now, on eligibility, we've already explained what that is, but I'm not sure I understand the second part of the question that's talking about misconceptions. Unless you are whoever asked this question, or Martins, what do you think they're asking for when they're saying, are there any common misconceptions we see amongst applicants?
Yeah, I think one of the first things I usually tell the people that I coach to do is you need to go read on the Chevening website the common mistakes that people would make, right? I think that's what the person is trying to get at. Really.
Oh, and that question was asked somewhere else, even here. So we'll get to that if that's what they're asking. Then the second question was, can you explain the updated eligibility rule for applicants? We've talked about that already in slide 5. This third question, does this mean that work experience gained before graduation will no longer count towards the 2-year work experience? I am afraid it doesn't count anymore. So that work experience that you built while you were an undergraduate, anything prior to completing your undergraduate degree, is just useful because it helps to build your experience. But we will begin to count from when you've completed your undergraduate degree. So some of the experience that you gained before would be helpful to build transferable skills in various areas. So I hope that answers, because there are quite a lot of questions, I think, on the chat bar that asks about work experience. Number 4, if an applicant has more than the minimum required working hours, does that make them more competitive, or is there a threshold after which it doesn't matter? So the website says minimum requirement of 2,800 hours, which works out to 1,400 hours every year, making 2 years. So that's the minimum. So if you have 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is you have, as long as it is after the minimum, then you can apply. And we do not go and start picking applications that have 10 years experience. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking at your work experience and your impact and how you've been able to align them together. That's what's important to us, because you might have worked for many years and not have made the impact that we're looking for. So you need to be cautious about that. Next question, number 5, many applicants wonder about course and university selection. Is it okay to choose the same course at different universities? Yes, you can. But sometimes you might not find exactly the same course with the same name, but something similar. So you can do that. And sometimes you can choose different courses at one university, but you cannot choose the same course. Before I mix this up now, I think I got it right before, and I'll just stop there. What's the best way to decide on the right UK institutions to apply to? So this is where you have to decide where you want to go to. This is where the research, where you have to do your own research. To be honest, nobody can tell you what, I mean, different people are coming out, the University of Nottingham, University of Sussex, and telling you how good their own university is, what the university offers. You go online and you read up, you decide for yourself what will suit you, what you like about the university, what courses they offer, why it will be the best university for you. That is the assignment. So sometimes it's very difficult for us to say, although if someone has a similar course that you want to study and they went to University of, maybe let's say University of Sussex, then you might consider reading up about it. We have content creators from some universities, people who are ambassadors, who come out and, they tell you all about what's good about their own universities. So if you have already been doing your research, you shouldn't have a difficulty in deciding which university you want to go to. Number 7, why did Chevening decide to introduce these thematic priorities into the essays? As I said, these priorities have always been there. And for us in Nigeria, myself and my other colleague in Lagos, Boma, every time we promote Chevening, we talk about UK and Nigeria priorities. So it's not something new to us in Nigeria, But now it's been spelled out on the website. So every Chevening officer across the world would be looking to prioritizing, highlighting these priorities to their own prospective candidates. Number 8, what are the most common mistakes applicants make in their essays and how can these be avoided? So there are some useful links that I shared with Ifechi. Hopefully she can put those on there about the kind of mistakes that people make. It's talking about eligibility criteria, some people not meeting it and still going on to apply, people completing their work experiences incorrectly, pasting into the wrong cells, unrealistic entries, working hours, some are not true, you can just tell. Somebody is saying they're working 21 hours out of 24 hours, how about now? Well, sorry, that's our expression in Nigeria. Sorry for the people that are here from Sudan or from Tanzania or wherever you are, it's just an expression to say, don't over exaggerate some of these things. Tell the truth about your working hours, highlighting your strong experiences. Look at all the experiences you have and choose the strongest one. Yes, now you know the secret to linking your experiences with the priority areas, but now this is where the work is, choosing the strong essays that will show us what you've been able to do, and that is competitive, because a lot of people apply from Nigeria every year. I don't know what the numbers are in other countries, but I know that with Nigeria, there's quite a number of applications every year. But this year, I think with the work experience, then that will kind of like reduce the applications a little bit, but I don't know, from 14,000, 10,000, I don't know. Let's see how that goes. Then plagiarism and the use of AI, some of the errors that people make, not meeting the word count, some people not writing in English, not highlighting what they have done personally, some of them using the word we and not I, not expressing to us exactly what it is that they were able to do in that experience. It's good to work with a group, but you need to shine your light, blow your trumpet, and let people understand exactly what it is that you did in that experience that made you stand out and made you influence other people to do something. Then try and use recent examples. It's quite important. Sometimes you want to use examples from a long time ago. So that means, where is the growth? Where have you grown? Your most recent examples should be stronger than your older ones. Yes, it's good to talk about COVID response, what I did during the COVID year, but things have happened after 2020. So what's happening now? What is it you're doing now? So if you do not highlight your stronger examples, then it means that means since that time you have not been able to do anything new. So highlighting your strengths and abilities through your essays. I'm reading this off a Word document. So I just have two more questions. I don't know, Martins, do you know if Ifechi has been pasting the links into the chat bar?
Yeah, I've been pasting some of the links. Some of them will go with the emails.
Okay, and then with the essay word count, number 9, reduced to 300 words, how many practical experiences would you recommend including, and how can applicants still make their examples impactful? So I said, use the Carl or the STAR approach and see how many examples you can get in there. I'm thinking in the past, people could get 3 examples. Maybe now I am assuming this is the first time we're doing this. So I do not have any feedback to give because I have not seen any applications. I have not read them yet. So I don't know what decision we're going to take. But what I believe is that if you are able to creatively write your essays and you're able to be concise, then you should be able to get 2 or 3 examples in there if you know how to write, if you're a good storyteller. And then lastly, number 10, for applicants whose professional background isn't directly related to their proposed course of study, what strategies can help them stand out and show relevance? So here again, we're asking you to choose your course of study. Depends on what you choose. So you have to look at things holistically. What professional experience do you have? What is the knowledge gap that you have now? What is it that you are doing? Maybe you studied something, like I studied architecture, but I practiced for a few years and started doing something else. So obviously what I'm doing now is what I would want to develop more. Unless I want to go back to my career, which is what I started with. But you should be able to show through your examples, what is it that you're doing now that kind of like links something that you have been following up with, that you're very passionate about, and that is why you need this change. So it's not a problem that you did something different, but what your experiences are now and you are trying to build on. Let's say you've been doing a lot of work with a particular NGO on solving poverty in a particular locality, and you have a lot of examples from there. And because of that, you want to build on that because you found that, okay, there's some skill gaps that you don't have. So you are now going to be focusing on something different. And so you can go ahead. But if there is no link, If you're not able to highlight your change in trajectory clearly to us, then they will not, your essay will not move on, your application will not move on to the next stage. So I think that's where I will stop. And then I'm happy to take any other questions that Martins throws my way. If I can't answer, Martins, you're there. So I can't answer everything, no.
Thank you very much. I mean, this has been a very long day. We've been in sessions like this. I see a lot of questions in the chat, and I see that they still need to be answered, but we can only take one more because we have about 4 minutes, and this session cannot exceed 2 hours. It cannot. So I'm just going to take one randomly, right? This person says, I started doing analysis remotely from 2021 till date. It's majorly macroeconomics analysis for graduate students. I graduated in 2023. Does that fit into work? Does that fit into work and experience? I think the person trying to say work hours and experience. So I think I'll just answer that one. Let me not stress you with that one. So that thing that you're counting, whether you started in 2023 or 2024, it's your work experience first. That's one thing you need to learn. Now, if that's your work experience, that's what you will say that you are done. Another question you should be asking is your eligibility criteria. Do you have at least the 2-year experience as required to apply for Chevening? If not, you have to wait. And I also see that some people ask, does the National Youth Service year count towards work experience? If you graduated in 2022, right, 2022, and then you served in 2023, 2023 is 1 year work experience. So that counts for
that
work.
Counts.
So that actually counts. So you should be thinking, if you graduated in, like I said, 2022, you served 2023, that counts for 2 years. If you have more than 2 years, it doesn't disqualify you. It doesn't reduce your qualification. They won't say you are too old. So there is a minimum age limit and there is no maximum age limit for Chevening. So that's the first part. Let me take one more question. I think someone else is saying, I think we already answered the question about 2 examples. The person is actually saying, with the new 300-word policy instead of 500 words, is it better to write just one full detailed example as the website emphasizes, one leadership case, one networking case, and one course, or still try to include 2 shorter examples? Ma'am, you want to maybe answer that?
I don't know. I think that's a trick question. As I said, if one example, that strong example, is enough for you and it fits in and it takes up all of the words, then that's what you're submitting. But if you're able to add one more to it, then I think you should give it a shot, because I don't think it's restricting you to just one example. I don't think so. But I promise to take this question back to the Secretariat. Martins, I think this question is a question that we can ask them and say, are they specifically trying to say we can only submit one? You understand? That is a question that I'll take back to the Secretariat, and you will get it in your emails, definitely, when we get confirmation. I would not want to say the wrong thing about this. Yeah.
All right. That is all we can take for today. Ladies and gentlemen, please can we please put our hands together for Madam Layo for joining us today, our Chevening Officer, UK, FCDO, British High Commission, Nigeria, all the way from Abuja, helping you clarify all of these points. Everyone, thank you. She's been with us throughout yesterday, setting up, putting all of this together. She was like, Martins, the slide must be ready. Martins, this must be here. That must be there. I'm like, yes, ma'am, it is going to be.
I don't want to fall your hand. I don't want to fall your hand. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. And I wish you all the best. I really, really hope that some of you come on to the next phase so we can see you at the interview and so that you can say nice things about me like Martins.
All right. So everyone, if you joined this session late or early, the recording will be live on our YouTube channel and you can subscribe to that. If you register for this session, you get the slides, you get the link to the YouTube channel, you get the link to our mentorship group where we do more concentrated work to help people improve the quality of their application. Thank you all for joining today. Enjoy the rest of your night. Bye, everyone. The meeting is now.
Bye, everyone. See you on the other side.
Bye.